So if you had the opportunity to start your whole lawn over from scratch, what would you do? Say the sky's the limit. It's your property to mold and do whatever you want to. What does that look like? I'm gonna show you what I'm thinking on mine. So with the expansion and the addition of the building, there's been some pretty major changes to the way the landscape's going to be around here. None the least of which is defining where the new spaces are going to lay out and how everything is going to contour together. So for me, it's working on this hillside and trying to make it as clean and as flowy as possible. So this behind me right here was a pretty skinny driveway when I first moved in, and it led out into the back to where I eventually put the lawn in. Right now, what we're actually doing is expanding and taking this thing a little further away because I've got a lot of space over on this side of the property. One of the biggest downfalls of this particular spot and how fast this hill climbs, it makes it kind of difficult to pull trailers and things up into the back. So part of this whole earthwork plan is to flatten out this hump right here, scrape all that extra soil down across to the edge, and give us a nice contour so that I can have this whole thing paved. So all this rock along this side, this all came out of the hole when we dug the back there. So it's not really necessarily the most beautiful stuff in the world, so it kind of makes perfect sense to kick it over to the side of the property, and we're gonna end up sort of just trailing this whole side. And what I wanted to do was make sure I had access all the way around like this was a drive around and it could continue to be used. The beauty is once this gets to the right height here, I'm gonna plant all across the top of it. So we'll have a row of shrubs, flowers in here, and take up about 3 or 4 feet off the wall back towards the house to get just a nice bed down this whole side and really frame the whole property off. So the next thing I've got to really kind of figure out here is that little building right there. I'm having such a struggle with it because part of me just wants to knock it to the ground and take it to the landfill, and the other part of me feels like that is completely wasteful and wrong. So I've got a couple options on it. One is that it gets rigged and moved out of here, put somewhere else, somebody else takes it, because it's a nice little unit, fully insulated, full powered, like a nice little 125 square foot inside, carpet, sheetrock, the whole shebang. The thing is like a nice little office. But it can't be there anymore, and it's gotta go away. So if y'all have any suggestions for me, just drop them in the comments, because I think that's kind of, I'm having a personal struggle over that. So after picking through a bunch of the big rocks, and we still have more to get out of here, this is kind of what's left of the pile, but it's still a shitload to deal with. So ultimately the goal here is to use this as fill in different places and then come through and cap it and pack it. And I kind of have to contour this whole backside out up on the top here, because that's going to be a level there, and also where I'm standing. So I've got all this area that I'm kind of dealing with to put new green space in, and part of it is going to be defining boundaries, right? So as I kind of shape this and pull that thing out of here, I've got this golf green that's going to go into this area where the original lawn kind of sat, plus a little more. Installing drainage, building it up properly, doing the whole thing so that it can actually be a real putting green with bent grass. That's what's going to go down here. The rest of this, for the most part, this is all going to be turf with beds and planting kind of running around the outside of it and giving a good definable space. So out on the back here behind everything, this is like going to be the main zone for a large amount of turf, a pergola, a swing set over in this other corner that is considerably different than one that was here before. But basically to take in the views behind me because, you know, it stares at the ski resort. So this whole thing still has to be brought up and leveled, and a significant amount of that rock, and though it's kind of hard to believe that we're going to get rid of all of it, a lot of that's going to end up kind of where I'm standing right here, because we need to get this planed out to a level and packed down to where it can support a pergola with a fire pit and the whole nine up on the top side. I mean, the reason that I live here is because of this, and I want to make sure I take full advantage of it. So I guess another question I would have for y'all out there is, in your neighborhoods, in your homes, and where you are, do you have areas of your yard where you are taking advantage of views or of natural shading with trees or anything like that? I'd be curious just to kind of get an idea of what other people have done when they were designing their landscape. The other thing I was trying to figure out up here originally was if I was going to ditch the fence line, but because of all the wildlife, and even there's some elk sitting right up behind in the bushes up there behind me, I get a pretty significant amount of deer, a lot of elk in the wintertime. They're going to be moving off here pretty soon, but I think I need to try to keep them out of this back space. So, you know, all of this crap that we pulled and tore down last year, it's going to have to be rebuilt. This little spot behind me right here, I'm actually very excited about. When we decided to dig this down to the hill, we went a little bit deeper and went up taller with the wall just so that I could have a better flat spot back here in the back. So we really leveled off this side. But I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but you can see it's sort of a little dip down right now. So this whole thing is still going to come up. But this is going to be a beautiful, flat, level lawn area where I'm going to get to have all kinds of fun just in here. So the biggest kick on all of this is designing a sprinkler system to make sure that I can get every bit of coverage that I need to, and again, play off all the contours. Now, I don't necessarily plan on having turf up on this ledge. I think I'm going to do something different for this whole thing, which will be a little more of a hardscape look. But over there, most definitely. So there's going to have to be irrigation that's run up through here and parked up on top of this platform, and that's going to be pretty fun on its own because I already don't have the best water pressure up here just because I'm so far up the hill from where the main line is. So if anybody has any suggestions on booster pumps or anything like that that you may have used, drop those in the comments too. I'd be very interested in some of that stuff. So it's kind of funny, we've had a couple of days of really warm weather, and today it's supposed to be 70 degrees, which is really warm for us. It's not going to stay that way. A little bit of a sucker hole, but it's still pretty dang nice. And my lawn, actually, what was left of it has started to come out pretty strong. No snow mold at all, no vole damage, no nothing. Like, it would have been a freaking great year to actually have this thing be complete, and whatever, it is what it is. But overall, the grass is still really freaking thick, even though I stopped doing anything to it, you know, way early last fall, even probably before real fall time. And it's this lawn is resilient, I'll tell you that much. If there's any folks out there from Milwaukee Tool, we would like to find out why this impact driver likes to stop working on a regular basis.
It's a piece of shit sometimes.
You hear that? That is a real world review of a very expensive tool.
It's like $400 tool, man.
Piece of shit. So hey, Milwaukee, step up. That's garbage.
Right here. Get a close up. That's what it is. And see, it's got battery juice, but nothing. It's done off and on, dude.
Maybe it doesn't work on Sundays. So as you can see, things are really moving along here pretty well, and there's just kind of a few things that I have left to figure out, and throughout this process I'm going to be asking all of you to help me with it, because I think that there is enough of a group here with enough knowledge and enough great input that, you know, I should really lean on you guys a bit. So for the next couple of weeks, I've got to be looking at where the walls are truly going to line out, what the heights are going to be,
how much material I'm going to have to bring in to cap all the rock, and if we are actually going to have to pull any rock out of here. I've already got everything lined up from the supplier for both my bent grass and my bluegrass, and I'll be getting more into how the layout of the golf green is going to be and the process of building that thing properly. So that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Get ready for more earth-moving adventures coming up over the next couple of weeks. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button and be part of all the exciting things that are going to be happening this spring. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya.